They talk about America being a capitalistic society, but yet you have a central bank that makes all the decisions. That's not capitalism. It's a fraud. It's a lie. They deceive the people, and they put out all this spin, all this press. The Federal Reserve is the greatest thing in the world. They're going to protect us, and they're going to make sure there's no more depressions in this country. What they've done is destroy the currency of this country, and they've taken all our gold while destroying the currency. And at some point, they're going to probably pull the plug and create the Great Depression.
And we're talking about the silent hand behind the powers that we see on the news.
Yes, totally. There's no question that the bankers control, whether it's George Bush or Hillary Clinton or whoever it is, doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican. It's irrelevant. He played into it because it was Democrat versus Republican.
Keeping it more local than it is. They're smaller.
No. Keeping it polarized.
Polarized, right.
Not smaller, not bigger. Keeping it polarized. Red state versus blue state. Liberal versus conservative. Democrat versus Republican.
Yes.
Michael Moore played into the system and what the people want to happen. They want people looking at Democrats and Republicans and fighting over that. Red states and blue states, but not looking at the Federal Reserve as the real answer. So they hide behind that. It's like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain. The guy behind the curtain. And the guy behind the curtain is the Federal Reserve. Well, it's not even the Federal Reserve so much as the people behind the Federal Reserve. They use the Federal Reserve as a tool so they can control things. Most of the industrialized West, it doesn't matter. It's all central banks controlling the governments. And the central banks make secret agreements with each other. So the real question is, there's so much debt in this country, they've got to keep things afloat. So they have to keep printing tons and trillions and trillions of dollars. And it's getting so massive, they don't want to let us know how much they're printing.
Right.
And we have no way to measure how fast we're going to lose the purchasing power of our money. And on the other hand, if they choose to stop printing money, they can cause the biggest depression that ever happened in this country.
Food, travel, internet, social media, communications, energy usage requires a valid digital ID, without which you are locked out. This has already happened in China and actually a lot of Asian countries. 86 million people in Vietnam have lost their bank accounts because they refuse to comply with digital ID. Okay, so we are seeing this already, and there's other countries. In China, hundreds of thousands of people are basically, they have nothing. They're just out on the streets because they lost all of their social currency, meaning they can't function in society anymore. These are people who've had digital ID, but because they did not like what they were posting and things that they were doing, or they didn't meet certain requirements, these were just working, healthy people, not criminals or anything like that. And then when I show you what is being said here and done here in comparison, it's going to shock a lot of you. So let's continue. Once that situation is in place, the conditions of validity can be set to whatever they want. Didn't take the latest experimental mRNA vaccine? Digital ID invalid. Posted misinformation on social media? Digital ID invalid. Social credit score too low? Digital ID invalid. Exceeded your carbon allowance this month? Digital ID invalid. Voice criticism of your new technocratic overlords? Digital ID invalid. If we allow our governments to succeed in rolling out digital ID, we will end up living in a giant open-air digital prison from which it will be virtually impossible to ever escape. So I've told you guys that we are in the end times. This is it. When you compare what I told you about what's going on in Jerusalem, building of the third temple, just the laws that are being put in place, these things that are secretly working behind the scenes, the 2.5 trillion spent in just a couple of months for these for Project Stargate, the huge AI data spaces, data centers that are going up all over the country. 2.5 trillion, something none of us asked for. We don't need that kind of power for anything right now, unless there will be 100% surveillance on every single American. This is going to be worldwide. There's no place that you're going to be able to go to escape. Let me just say this clearly. Every country is rolling this out, from third world countries to the US, the UK, Canada, all of that. Okay? So there's nowhere to hide. I told you you're not going to be able to, fight against the government. They're doing that in the UK right now, but they're still going ahead with it. You can protest, resist, but this is the way they want the future, and we know why.